Well, good afternoon, everybody. Updating you on the situation here with the rain that is finally falling across the metro. A nice light to moderate rain, the kind of thing you want when we're in the middle of what is severe drought, of course, for much of Minnesota. We'll take a look at what's going on here on the radar right now and show you that we are seeing that rain really covering much of southern Minnesota from basically St. Cloud is where the northern extent of the showers is. And south of there. We're not expecting severe weather today, in case you were, and I said yesterday, if we got this morning activity, which some of the models were hinting at, that this would really bring down any risk of severe weather for us, and then potentially rainfall amounts. So that's what's changed here in the last 12 to 24 hours. We saw this mesoscale convective system develop. We've got a wave of energy that's come out of northwestern Canada. We call this a short wave. It's basically like a cool front aloft, which is the focal point for development of showers, thunderstorms out ahead of it, which is what happened. You're looking at a replay loop. So basically around the Black Hills, we saw these storms develop into a line, and then they form into this mesoscale convective complex that we talked about. So the Storm Prediction Center 2 has shifted that risk. Yesterday, the enhanced risk was from the Twin Cities south. Now it's really mainly in Iowa into southwestern Wisconsin threat. In fact, I don't even think Minnesota at all gets into this. So stay tuned. They'll probably shift that enhanced risk even further. So here's 6 o'clock this evening. I think the rain is done. So you can still get out in the evening, maybe that walk, run, or bike ride. Everything will be wet, but I think the rain will be done falling. And this is going to bring down those rainfall amounts, as I mentioned, to probably a ½ inch or so in the metro with this steady rain. So good rain, but not the 1 to 3 inches that we could have seen. And this is zooming in a little bit more, you can see on the metro, but areas to the south where they could get in on some of that activity later in the day could get some of those heavier amounts, and they got more out of this system this morning because it was still more intense moving along the Minnesota-Iowa border. So what we're looking today as far as severe weather is that convective available potential energy, basically where is the highest instability, which requires not just humidity and all the dynamics aloft, but some sunshine. That'll probably happen much further south into Iowa. Supercell index, where storms could get more organized, that's probably also going to be more in north central, northeastern Iowa. And again, all this hinges on Iowa too, getting some sunshine. We'll take a look at some of the satellite imagery here in a second to show you where that might be happening, but also the risk of any tornadoes. This is the significant tornado index also, right? Everything just overlaps there in northeastern Iowa, and as well as the potential for some strong winds. So winds, hail, tornadoes, all possibilities with these storms in Iowa. This shows the path of some of those highest wind gusts, the brighter colors, those potential for some severe wind gusts. So here's looking at Iowa, development about 3-4 p.m., and then those storms will track east and become more of a straight line wind event where the initial development could have some of those supercells, which are those organized singular storms that can produce some tornadoes. But I want to talk a little bit about the smoke too, because this is worth mentioning. The northern half of Minnesota is under an unusual air quality alert, and this is because the winds have shifted overnight. A ton of smoke. I've showed you this on and off for the last couple of weeks. A lot of fires to the west. This is just the beginning of what's probably going to be a severe fire season, but winds shifted with this front coming through overnight. So it's been out of the northeast, which is wrapping around the smoke from those Canadian fires. So we still have fires north of Lake of the Woods in eastern Manitoba, far western Ontario, and that's been blowing in. So everything that's not green is lower air quality, and even in the Twin Cities, it's moderate right now, but you got reds and oranges from Fargo, Duluth, Brainerd. Those are areas with poor air quality, so if you have any issues, asthma or anything, you definitely don't want to be outside in the northern half of the state. Then we're talking about the heat dome. It's going to be building, and over our region, closer to us, I should say, instead of the west coast or the southwest, it's going to be more just to the west, Montana, and then potentially redeveloping a little closer to us yet by next weekend. And that's why some of the models still are hinting at that possibility of triple digits. Now, this is a high-end scenario. It doesn't mean it's going to be 100, 105, 110 degrees, but that is that extreme scenario if it develops over us. So don't look for movement on temperatures today, but after this, I'm afraid we're not looking at any more rain. A gorgeous weekend, but we do need the rain. The heat builds in, and things will just dry out more. In fact, close to 90 by Sunday. It looks like we're in for a heat wave, which means consecutive days in the 90s starting Monday and maybe all of next week. Some models bring us back down for maybe one day, middle of next week. But again, possibly the hotter conditions are going to be for us as we head into next weekend.